So we'll get that started. And let me start by just thanking you, everyone, for being here. My name is Horacio Ochoa. I am the head of marketing at Bloomz, and I am joined here by Chaks, who's the CEO of Bloomz, and he's joining from his library, apparently, there in his house. But thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're going to be walking you guys through some of the latest innovation that we've put out in our app, and also some of the new improvements that we have planned for the new school year. We're really excited to share this with you. We started sharing this with folks last week, and we had really great response. We had over 1,000 people sign up for the webinar. Not everyone could make it, so we decided to do another one, and hopefully you will enjoy what you'll see. We're going to leave some time for questions, but feel free to use the Q&A to send the questions as you are seeing the presentation. We're going to make a couple of pauses to respond to questions, and we'll make sure that at the end we'll leave some time for other questions. If you are one of those who like using social media like we are, please feel free to share your thoughts on Facebook or Twitter using hashtag BloomzNews, or tag us at Bloomz app. That way we can follow the conversation, see what your feedback is. So let's get started. The first thing is I just wanted to thank everyone again, not only for being here, but also because it is because of you, teachers out there and educators out there, that we have been recognized now for 4 years in a row by institutions like the Tech Advocate or the EdTech Digest as being the top communication solution out there for educators. And again, this is because of educators like you that are using the app, sharing with others, and really taking action to increase parental engagement in your schools and classrooms. So thank you, everyone. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to share with you we're going to start with some of the enhancements we've done to the app that are already out there, but you may have not seen them. They were recently launched, so we wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of them. And the first one is Robocalling. This is a great feature that we just recently launched, and it came from feedback from schools and district administrators that they wanted really to consolidate all the communication in their school into one tool. And clearly, Bloomz is the most complete app out there. We were missing that piece to send voice messages home to landlines and for families who didn't have access to their mobile phone or to an app. So this is a great tool that we're making available to premium schools out there and school districts, and it will save a ton of time for administrators when they're sharing communications home. True to our nature, we have made it a little special, so we've added text-to-speech functionality and the ability for administrators to customize the message. Not only the voice message, but also text message in the different languages. So lots of functionality out there. You can read more about it in our website, in our blog, or on our support site. Another feature we just recently launched is templates. And this is another time-saving tool for teachers and administrators. You can, if there's regular communications that you're sending out to the whole school or to your classroom, things that maybe not only as a teacher you want to continuously send in a similar format, but also administrators that want to create templates for teachers. They can share, not only create these templates, but also share them with everyone in their school, and save people time, but also maintain certain standardizing language or messages. We also recently launched drafts. Again, one of those things where you're creating a post and you get distracted with something, or you need to reset your computer for some reason. This is we've not only added drafts where you can save your post as you're working on it, but also autosave functionality. So even if the computer restarts without your knowledge, then you can always come back to the work you were already doing. Another thing we launched along with Robocalling is audio clips, and this is available for all teachers out there. Something that if you've used Facebook Messenger or apps like WhatsApp, you've probably seen this functionality where you can record something from your app and then share it as an audio clip. You can attach that files that are pre-recorded in your folders. You can attach it to a post and then share it with your classroom or with the whole school. And we've also added more sharing options. Again, another feature available to everyone where you can, in the past, we used to have the ability to share to your Facebook page, but now we've added Twitter as another option. And we've also added a web feed where you can take a feed from, if you like to share things out in your website, in your school website, you can always take a URL that it's available in the settings of your community, and you can copy that and paste it in HTML format in your website, and it'll add a feed of the content that you want to share. So this is not, it doesn't mean that you will share everything in your feed, but only the posts that you add as a sharing option in the web. So you can still keep that privacy in your classroom or community, but also share some things that you may want to make public to the whole community out there. And last but not least, we've made a lot of improvements in our app, and this came out of the coronavirus situation with lots of schools joined Bloomz because they needed a solution to share with parents and students at home, and that caused a little stress in our backend. You probably saw that in early March. We had a couple of glitches that caused people to had to wait a few minutes for the app to load. Our team jumped into this very, very quickly and worked 24/7 to get things not only resolved, but we made huge leaps in terms of reliability and stability in the app. And this shows now as improvements not only in how often you can use the app or how quickly it responds, but we just to give you an idea, the time it takes to load a page in our app, it improved by 600%. So huge improvement. You've probably seen this already in the app. It's much more responsive, much more fluid. Hopefully you like that. And one thing that we made sure is that as we continue to grow, the app is now stable enough and reliable enough that we won't see this in the future. So lots of things came in the last few weeks and months. Before we go into the next topic, I just wanted to, along with the coronavirus issue and topic that we're already on, I wanted to launch a poll here and see what you think. So do you know already what is the method that you will be using coming up in the new school year? Will it be all in person? Will it be 100% distance learning? Maybe some combination of it, or maybe you don't know yet. So please let us know what do you think so far. What have you heard? Apparently, lots of people are still on the fence on this. Let me keep a couple more seconds. All right, let me share this with you. So Not surprising, quite honestly, based on the feedback that we got last week as well. Lots of people don't know yet what it's going to look like, whether it's going to be in person or some sort of combination between online and in person. The reality is lots of schools are in the same situation, and this actually is a great segue for the next section of the presentation, because it was thought of this uncertain situation and what could come next. So, Chaks, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Horacio. And good morning, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity to share with you about Bloomz here. Let me switch to this. So again, as Horacio was mentioning, while the COVID situation has presented a lot of challenges across the world for everyone, we took this as an opportunity to continue to innovate on our mission to be the one unifying app. We did have definitely some challenges as soon as the transition from the in-person classrooms to the remote happened, but we quickly turned around. As we already communicated, we are seeing tremendous improvement in our performance because we have really optimized every part of our system as taking that as an opportunity, as well as we have delivered a number of new features like robocalling, drafts, templates, audio clips, sharing options. And now I'm very, very excited to also share that, I'm sure some of you have experienced that we have shipped the new user experience on Bloomz that's fresh, welcoming. It's really engaging. I personally like it a lot. It's been one of my personal desires to have Bloomz app be current and engaging. So we would love to hear some of your feedback if you have already experienced the new app. But specifically what I'm going to talk about are some of these new enhancements that we are going to be introducing. So again, if you have downloaded the new app and experienced in the last couple of weeks, you will see that it's really a new great experience that I've heard great feedback from across the board. And what you're going to see in this new functionality that we're working on right now actively is to bridge that gap. Right now, as we can clearly see based on all the feedback that we're hearing, either it is a significant, already decided to be a blended model, or I don't know, might end up being a significantly still blended model as we see the cases going up and so on. So with all the uncertainty, we wanted to make sure that our mission of being that one-stop app for all communication is taken to the next level now. So we know that we already have the portfolios feature that allows your students to submit their work on their own. But what it is missing is this complete loop, wherein as a teacher, for you to have a library of your own activities that you want to assign to the students, and for the students to then start from there and then be able to complete the assignments online through a tablet or an iPad or even mobile device, and be able to submit back. And given that Bloomz has always built this product in such a way that it caters all the way from childcare to the high school, we are making sure that this functionality is also again done in a way that it caters to your needs as the teacher in your classrooms. So that means you can have already, that the student experience can be configured at various levels. Maybe very young kids, you don't need students to be the one doing it. Maybe the parents are submitting it. So you already know that that functionality is supported, where you can set the student level access to no student access and let the parents to be able to add to these portfolios. Then the next thing is that you can have a shared access where the student can take a QR code shared and then pick their identity and then simply submit the work. Now with the assignments and also this individualized access, now you can assign these activities to the entire classroom or to a specific set of students or a group of students, and then you can track the assignments. So without further ado, so let's get into this functionality. And I think, is this functionality going to be available on both the free and the premium? Yes, it is going to be available on both the free and premium. So definitely, we want you to explore and as well as use that in both the free and the premium versions. Of course, there are certain features like linking to the standards and so on, some of the things that might be part of the more premium, but definitely, it's something that we're making it available across the board. Now, with the new experience that you're already seeing on my screen, now with the assignments, there's a new tab that you're seeing here, assignments tab, with a badge count even, so that you can quickly identify what assignments that you have assigned. It is the same experience on the student side or on the parent side. They will see what assignments their child is due or what assignments the student is due. So that way, without having to switch accounts and so on, everybody is going to clearly know what their assignment activity that is pending and what they need to act upon. Now, if I click on the quick links, we call this the quick links, the plus button. So if you click on it, as you know, all the tools that you have access to are all at your fingertips. So literally the tool set that we're adding here is continuously evolving and adding more and more capabilities. And the assignment is something that I'm very excited about. And lots of even the feedback that we got from the last webinars has been fantastic. So again, I hope to share more of our plans here now and then also get further feedback from you. So here, this assignment, just like you could create a portfolio or an alert post and so on. Now I can click on an assignment. It would take me first to my library of activities that I may already have. So this is where I can pre-create my activities for the entire year, for the upcoming semester, for the next week. I can pre-create them, organize them. So as we are also going to give you the ability for you to organize into collections. So these collections, you can name them whatever way you want, and then that way you can organize them. There is also the community aspect. Again, that's a great way for teachers to now share these resources among other teachers in their same grade ranges within their school, across the district, or even across the Bloomz network. So this way you really can take advantage of all the resources that are out there that people are willing to share with you. Now you have a way to leverage the best assets that are out there. Let's imagine like you're starting for the first time and you don't have anything that you're right away able to assign. So you want to create a new activity here. So you know that the plus button or the quick links tool is the entry point, and it's contextual depending on where you are. So in this case, I'm in the my library. When I click on it, it takes me to the ability to create a new activity. Now, this is now very specific to the way that you are assigning this activity to the students. So first of all, at the top, it starts with the ability for you to give instructions to the students. Do you want the students to submit this work online? Do you want, so these instructions can be given through audio. We have the audio support now. We also have the video. So you will have the ability to do, add those instructions. Now, based on some of the feedback, we're going to be adding those same tools for the teacher notes as well as the parent instructions. The parent instructions is something that I'm excited about because, again, now it's more critical in this coronavirus situation that the parents become a true partner for you in your extended learning situation here. We know that the parents are extremely busy. So to the extent you can give them specific instructions on how they can support their students at home while they're fulfilling their parental duties, I think this is a great way in which you can build a true partnership there. And you can also, as I said, it will have translation support if you're typing text. That way you really can make sure that you engage parents with all backgrounds. And then specifically the student template is something that's, again, something new, where like now you can attach, either worksheets, you can pre-create some resources that you want students to work on top of. So here, if you click on it, now it takes you to a screen where you can upload files, you can scan them and so on. You can simply scan a picture, you can add a video, you can add a drawing that the students can further annotate on top of, or you can simply add a note. And again, some people said I have no audio, but I just want to make sure that I'm audible to everybody here. Feel free to let me know if it is a common issue for everybody.
I can hear you well, Chaks.
Okay. And so again, I go back here in this activity. Now I can save this activity. When I save this activity, I can add to any collections. I can create new collections right from here. So this is again a great way for you to create the content and share it as well as save to your own library. Now, as I said, you can organize the content, you can have a library of content, you can edit the collection further, you can modify changes and so on. Now, taking it to the next level, this content that you created, you could share it with the community, or you can browse the community. Now, again, when you create the content, you can share it and attach to grades and subjects. You can search for the content. There's collections that you can browse, as well as now you can look at the most highly rated content posted this week. So we are going to give you all the ways in which you can identify and surface the new content from the content library, from the community, and then add to your own library. Now imagine now I go back to my library, and now I'm ready to have some assignments, activities that are ready to be assigned in my classroom. So I start from taking the content, I can simply add, assign. Now at this point of time, I can assign to the entire class, or I can assign to a subset of the students or a specific student. Now this process is also not only going to give you that ability to get the responses back, track them, but you can also organize these assignments into folders. So you can have a way to make sure that let's say within math you have different subtopics and you want to organize them, you will be able to do that as well. So I'm going to save this. Now you come back to the activities library. Now, if I go back, I can go back to my home screen. Now imagine now I have made that assignment. Now the students are starting to submit. So I can quickly start seeing as the new submissions keep coming. There's also the badge count of all the pending assignments that are due. So I can go here and then I can start seeing. There are a couple of screens that we will be adding that we don't have on in the present demonstration. But you can drill into this assignment and see all the submissions of all the students, who's pending, who's submitted, and you can review, give feedback right from there. But you can also look at on demand. Let's say a student has submitted now, there is going to be a notification depending on your settings in the classroom. If you want to go through an approval mechanism, you can see that the student has submitted, and now you can approve or discard, or you can send a suggestion. When you send a suggestion, again, you can add audio, video, comments, and so on. So we're going to provide you all the ways in which you can make that process of giving feedback easier and make sure that the student is plugged into the loop of how to respond back and close the loop on that. So I'll pause here at this point. Hopefully that is clear. Again, what we demonstrated is that there is a new functionality that we're adding, which is about the ability to add assignments. Now these assignments are going to be accessible with a new tab where you will be able to track all the things that are assigned, they're scheduled, that are archived, but you will also have the ability to assign directly from your quick links toolbar. And from the quick links toolbar, you can jump onto your library of content that you already have, or you can browse the community, you can organize that into collections, and you can take any activity content that is already there, and you can then assign it to your entire class or subset of the students. And then once as they're submitting, you will also be able to track their responses and be able to provide feedback and close the loop on that. So I'll pause here, and then if there are some questions that I would like to take them or answer them.
So Chaks, we got a couple of questions here. Let's start with this about standards and whether you will be able to assign standards to assignments.
Yeah, so definitely we are working towards it. Again, there will be phases that we'll release. The first phase may not have all the full standards functionality, but we're talking about July, end of July, we want to make the first release, and then continue to make sure that we continue to innovate in this dimension. So when we do the standards linking, we will provide a flexibility for you to add any type of standards. We'll preload some of the standards that are standard out there. So definitely, yeah, you want to, whether, again, Bloomz has been a tool that people embrace all the way from childcare to the high school. So we want to make sure that the capability that we provide caters all the way from preschool or early childhood all the way to high school. So I think one of the comments is like whether we will support generic other standards. Yes.
Yeah. There's also a question about what are the ways that one can, as a parent, download or keep a portfolio, and whether an archive class, would a parent of an archive class still have access to their portfolio?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's something that we are going to be making sure that the portfolio is something that the parents will have access to. And then again, for them, there will be options for them to save as PDF. So there are, and obviously, you know that all the resources from the portfolios are also going into the media library, anything that is attached. So those will be, they will be able to download them as part of the download option. So they will have the ability to capture the portfolio work. And then when we are doing this, we are also doing this in such a way that in a district or school environment, that the portfolio is carrying with the students. So that means that the administrators will also be able to see, and at some point, as we enhance the functionality for teachers to be able to share this students among the school. Again, we already do this if you are integrating with your student information system data through a bulk file or through Clever Import, then the same student is maintained. That means Johnny from grade 1 moves on to Johnny from Johnny in grade 2. So all the records and the portfolio and the behavior move with them.
There's another question about the community. Will access to the community resources be limited by school or by country?
Will they be limited by the school?
The access.
So we are thinking about a couple of levels of access, sharing with the broad community, sharing with their school or district. So that's and then obviously they can keep it to themselves.
So basically, if you can share, you can decide how much you want to share the content. Correct. And based on that, you will have access. So if you're in another country, you may have access to the whole community, regardless of where it was created.
Correct.
When you approve an assignment, are you able to send an audio video message with the approval?
That's a good point. So we will we'll take this suggestion. It looks like, in general, any type of feedback that the teachers want to give, you would like maybe access to all the tools so that you can efficiently communicate that through either audio or video. So we will take this, right now this is not part of the scope, but we will take this feedback and we'll try to incorporate into the approval mechanism as well.
Another question, so about the assignments being available not only in classrooms, but also in classes that were set up as rooms for preschool or childcare.
I think, yeah, I mean, we have to actually add extra functionality to block the access. So I think based on if we think this is a functionality that makes sense there also, which I think it does, because there are certain ages combined. There are certain types of rooms are used at a combined level, and some kids might be a little bit older that are capable of doing the assignment. So it makes sense, and we'll take that feedback.
There's a question about languages for the subjects of the categories. So the question is specific to Arabic language, but I guess it applies to any other language. How are the subjects of the categories entered? Is that available based on the one you give it, or is it predetermined?
The subjects in the categories, as in like the collections, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, because the collections are something that you are creating, you're personalizing, so you can put it in whatever language you want. It's really more of an organization for you. So you can type in whatever language you want.
Another great question about assignments. Will the teacher have the option to limit the number of submissions per student?
We would love to understand, our thought process was that the student, I guess you want to limit the number of times they submit back the assignment. Again, we would like to understand what's the typical flow that where that constraint becomes important. Is it the time bound thing? That means like, the student can not submit after a certain day, or is it more like the number of times they can submit?
I think the question is specific to a number of submissions. So can they submit once or more than once?
Right now, our thought process was that they can submit once and they can keep updating until the teacher approves or rejects.
Got it. When will it be available, the assignments feature?
As I said, I think we're aiming for phased release of this one, so that first of all you can start planning for the upcoming school year, so that you can pre-create content, start being able to share, find resources, and we want the community of teachers to be out there really helping create this kind of resources and encourage ability for people to reuse as much as possible. So we're thinking of doing that. Kind of the first goal is to be able to release this in such a way that people can pre-create, organize the content, library, everything. And then the following is to be able to actually assign and start tracking, and then start also introducing other things like standards and so on. But our goal is that there will be a first release for sure in the end of July that we're aiming for, and that will allow you to start planning your school year. And then the following weeks onwards, again, definitely for sure, by middle of August, we're trying to get everything wrapped up.
All right, so you answered that one. There's a couple of suggestions about a poll feature in Bloomz, and I know internally we've talked about it. Do you have any ideas on whether we could make that available?
Yeah, definitely poll is there for the upcoming school year. It won't be there at the beginning of the school year, but something that we plan to introduce once. We're taking on definitely a major features that we want to do between now and back to school. So poll is something that's definitely something we've heard and makes sense, particularly given that you're all remote now. You want to get quick input from the students, from the parents. So we want to support that. It won't be there out at the gate at the beginning of the school year, but definitely something that we plan to deliver soon after.
A question about assignments, and you mentioned when the teacher approves an assignment. So she's asking if you could explain a little bit more. What does that mean? Is it grading the assignment or just approving it for the portfolio?
Good question. So we are not going to be the grade book for you, but our plan is that this should ideally integrate with other grade books. So we're working with Google Classroom. Google has reached out. We're in conversations to make this available through our integration with them. So again, definitely that's something that's high on our list of priorities, but we will do this in such a way that eventually it can be pushed into other learning management systems or other student information systems. So over time, but we will tend to be more on being that unifying communications platform. And to the extent the grade books are there, we are going to make it so that at some point more and more data from the grade book can be pushed in both ways.
Right, let me quickly answer. This one is there's a question about robocalling for non-US schools. Right now, robocalling is only available for schools in the US. And this is something that as we expand internationally, we'll look into making available in the future, but not right now. However, the voice clips that you can add to a post, those are available for everyone, regardless of the country. So that would be an alternative for you. I know it's not exactly robocalling, but you can still send audio clips home via a post on Bloomz.
Right.
I know there's a bunch more questions, and we can leave a little more time. Do you want to continue and answer some of these down the road?
Yeah, so let's also talk about another major update that we are doing to the product that I think is super helpful. I feel like this is related to the behavior enhancement. But before that, I wanted to just show you a little bit of the student experience as well. Because I think that will help you to connect the dots in terms of what the student is going to see, and then how will their experience be. So again, the student on their side, when they log in, they will see a new tab assignments, they will see all the pending assignments right from here. They can see what is waiting for response. They can add the response right from here. When they go in to add, they will see all the rich tools. Again, we put, nice colorful icons, so they're easy to follow for younger kids all the way to adults. And as you can see, we are also enhancing the tool set here. So for example, I want to add a drawing, so I can actually go into the drawing tools. Now to our drawing tools, we already support drawing with annotation, but we don't have some of the tools like text and being able to add multiple layers, multiple cards. So things like that, we are going to be adding more capabilities so that this tool becomes really rich and in a way that the students can communicate back with you in an efficient manner. And this will also take the full real estate, that right now on the desktop and certain devices, it only takes a limited screen. So we're going to take advantage of the full real estate that allows the students to actually express very efficiently. Same thing, they can upload files, they can add videos, they can record the videos, which again, they can do even now. And then there is a new option where they can add note. So it was going to give a nice notebook screen. They can just keep typing the text. So it's a simple way for them to provide any textual response for the students. So I just wanted to kind of close the loop on that one. Let's now shift to the next feature that I want to talk about, which is the enhancements to the behavior and the PBIS reporting. Again, positive behaviors and intervention support is something that's standard in some other states, but it's something that's gaining a lot of attention because, particularly, let's say, imagine you're doing this blended learning model remotely, the kids are there. How do you even positively reinforce positive behavior, online behavior now? So with Bloomz, now we already know that you have the behavior module. You can customize the types of behaviors that you're either trying to encourage or either negative behaviors that you're trying to discourage. So let's say somebody being on time, whether it is a remote session or not, submitting on things online on time, or being able to positively create a positive classroom environment online, as opposed to some people who are disrupting the class environment. So you can see how the same behavior can help you to capture this data on an ongoing basis. And now when you have these behaviors standardized either in the school environment or remote learning environment, now you can analyze this and then start using this to identify what behaviors are requiring some attention. And maybe you can make this available to the parents so that the parents can become a better partners for you in your extended learning experiences. Or you can also make changes appropriately in your school environment. So now a few things that we're adding. So you already know that how you can capture the behavior we have, again, our behavior is more advanced than any other tool out there in terms of not only that we have given you all the tools to capture the data depending on the various personalized or the optimized way you can capture these behaviors, but now we're enhancing that. So for example, we have this gamified characters, which means that you have every kid is motivated to see, for example, in this case, the egg is going to hatch into some new character, new monster. I don't know what that is. So the only way to get there is to demonstrate and earn positive behavior points. And every time they have the demonstrated other points, they're regressing. So this is a great way to positively motivate the kids to drive towards the positive behaviors. That's one thing. Now you see these flags are something that we are introducing new, wherein now a school or a district that embraces the entire, this is the school or the district level, wherein they can configure and then say, any teacher can now identify any behavior of any student across the school and then give them either kudos or something that requires attention. So when they do that, now you can get these flags highlighted because these are the people that require special mention because they've done extremely something good that everybody should recognize. Or there's also people that need to be in watch, or some people that are on the extreme case. So again, you want this quick way to analyze and identify that. So that's what you can do. And also, as you go further, you can start seeing a trend analysis very quickly, like by week, by month, and by year, without having to drop down, do a lot of calculations. You will quickly be able to see and then identify maybe the behavior starting to degraded over the last week versus maybe historical. So that is again a data point that is quite helpful for you and for your conversation with the parents. So now you can take that same data, imagine the standardization of all those behaviors across your entire school or even the district. Now you can analyze this across the staff. You can then, quickly analyze how many interactions, how the positivity of the by teachers. You can analyze by time window. And if you want, you can drill down and then start seeing by teacher, their history of the data. You can analyze the students that they have given points to, what their data has been. And then you can also analyze what types of behaviors that they have primarily used. And there's, again, we're still working on some of these things, but the idea is that you can now analyze all the data that you are giving. And you can also look at that in terms of visual chart so that you can identify where you need to pay attention. Some teachers need extra professional development on how they should be doing it, or maybe there's data that you need to further drill down. We're also going to be adding another thing that is not presented in the screens, but we're going to be adding a location aspect. So by default, if you're doing it in the classroom, the location is the classroom, but you will also be able to now capture these behaviors outside of the classroom environment. Maybe it's in the field, or it's in the hallways, it's in the bus routes, a bus, or wherever. You can customize some of these standard locations, and then now you capture that. You can also analyze where are you seeing certain negative behaviors, certain positive behaviors, so that will help you to further get some more insights. Now take the same data, now you can analyze by students. Now again, you can analyze across classrooms, across the entire school, and you can also drill down on a particular student and then see what has been their history, which staff members have given them the points, and then also what are their common behaviors or common interactions that they're being captured on. And now you can also pivot this and then analyze by the interactions and then analyze by the location. So again, these are all the different ways we are going to be working on. This is still work in progress, but we're excited about this because this way, Bloomz is truly becoming a one-stop shop for an entire district. You can see that we have the functionality all the way from childcare to high school functionality, but it's also configurable. So we're putting all of this, but we're not kind of pushing as one size fits all. So as a result, there is a lot of configurability, means that now the administration can confidently feel like they are meeting the needs of every stakeholder at every grade level. But at the same time, they have complete oversight, visibility, seamless integration with their existing systems. And that is, I think, even more critical with the current situation where the administrators are at their homes, the teachers are at their homes, the kids and the parents are in their own homes. Now, how do you get visibility? How do you get oversight in such a completely distributed environment like this? So one, with Bloomz, you can eliminate too many point apps, put all of those things in one place. And you know that Bloomz is already delivering on that promise. Now with the new enhancements that we have done over the last 2 months and the next 2 months, I think literally Bloomz is the one-stop shop that your district or your school can embrace. So I'd like to pause and take some more questions maybe at this point.
Yes, so Chaks, there's a couple of questions here. Let's go with when you upload resources in the library, can you go back to edit in Bloomz real time and just save, or do you have to upload a revised version?
So if it is an existing, let's say, I'm assuming you're referring to an activity that you are creating in your library that you want to be able to edit. Yeah, so you will be able to edit your library, and you will be able to save that in real time.
There's a question here. I'm not really sure. Are you able to prioritize assignments? I'm imagining for the students themselves.
I mean, Rebecca, it would be good to understand what you mean by prioritize assignments, as in like the students have a choice on which assignments to work on first, or I guess, or are you thinking that, can we deliver by prioritizing assignments ahead? It would be good to get some more clarity on your question.
Looks like where can we go to find the data? I'm assuming you're asking this anonymous question, but I'm assuming you're asking where can you go find more information about assignments and behavior. Right now, this is all, we're sharing this as a preview for the new school year. As we get closer to launch in August, we will share tutorials and more information on our support side, our blog. Certainly keep an eye on our social media. That's where we share most of the news. But right now we'll make this webinar available as well for all the registered, uh, and you'll have access to, you can view more about this. If you meant something different, please let us know. Can we tell students which assignments to do first? Oh, so this is a clarification from, can we tell students which assignments to do first, second, etc.? Can we also let them know which ones they have not done yet?
Got it. Okay. So we haven't thought about this importance in a different way, but we thought about the due date. So that way you are able to establish the due date as the factor for them to see what is pending, what is due when. And this is also something that we're planning to present this in the calendar as well, so that when they see calendar, they will also be able to quickly see what assignments are due. The parents also will be able to see what is assignments are due for their kids. So that's one thing that, you know, Bloomz is always known for, is the parental engagement. And this is going to make that process of engaging parents by having them to see that visibility, quick visibility of what's due for their kids, so that they know sometimes to remind. We're talking about younger kids or even older kids. I mean, I'm dealing with a teenager. Sometimes we end up having to remind them because they might be overwhelmed, or sometimes, you know, so I think that having that visibility as a parent is a crucial aspect of the parental engagement.
So Rebecca, hopefully that, I saw that you also clarified that question. Hopefully that answered your question. So based on the due date, you'll be able to prioritize. There was another question in that from Barb. Can we also let them know which ones they have not done yet? So is there like a way to remind them about it?
That for each assignment, you will again have the ability to add comments. So just like, you know, it's a post, so you will be able to add comments. So you can always give more context to your assignment and then surface that notification. But the students also will have access to the assignment list, as I showed you in the student experience. They will see with a clear badge count of what is pending. So they will not miss that, because the badge count will stay until they submit the assignments.
And there's a follow-up to that calendar functionality you mentioned. Do assignments automatically link to the calendar? And I guess the answer is, as long as you added the due date, they do link.
Yes. The due date will help them to be linked to the calendar view.
There's a question we answered earlier. Parents will always have access to the portfolio. Do you want to touch on that again?
Yeah, so you know, the parents, so there are two cases here. One is, you know, the parents having access while they're a member of your classroom, while they're being part of the school, and then beyond the school. So right now, the way it is implemented is that they will have access as long as they're in the school, and then when they are removed from the classroom, we are taking their access right now. But one of the things that we are right now, it's not supported where the parents will have access beyond if they're removed from the classroom. But archived classrooms, they should be able to access. So there is going to be some more thought process that we have to, requirements that we need to gather in terms of is it important for parents to have access after and who owns that content and so on. So there's some more thought process we have to put. But again, if you have any further thoughts around that, you know, hear your feedback, and we would like to hear that.
All right. Does Bloomz allow the teacher to set multiple choice questions to be answered online?
Yeah, this is probably almost like that poll
Right.
that was mentioned earlier. This is something that we, at the moment, it won't be there right at the beginning of the school year, but it's something that we plan to deliver during the school year for sure.
Okay, we're gonna give a couple of minutes for if people have other questions. How are we doing on the presentation? Is there anything left there, Chaks, or can we go do the poll, the second poll? Yeah.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go ahead and do the other poll. Again, feel free to post questions if we have not already accounted for. Given the couple of times we have done this webinar, we've had some other questions and we try to do our best to address them.
All right. So while we're hearing from more questions, I just launched a poll here. Just let us know what are you most excited about from everything that we showed today. You know, robocalling, templates, drafts, assignments. Let us know. We really would love to hear what you think about this.
And while they're doing that, I see that one question about are the assignments multiple page documents or limited to one page? I wanted to go back to this particular screen here and show you a little bit about that. So here, as you probably are seeing in my screen, when the students are responding, you can actually have multiple pages. So that's what at the bottom, you will see the ability for them to add multiple pages as they're responding. So it's not one page, they'll be able to respond with multiple.
All right. Great news from the poll. It looks like lots of people are excited about the assignments, just as we thought you would. That's great to hear. But also a good chunk, all of them. So that's great. We really appreciate that. So let's go back to the questions. There's a couple more questions. Are you able to specify which way you want a student to respond to an assignment? For example, I would want students to respond to a guided reading activity with a video.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the whole student instructions that you will give. So when you are, let's go here. So here, the student instructions is where you can specify, and instead of just giving a set of choices that we control, I mean, you can, given that there's so many tools, we want you to use the tools like, maybe there's audio instructions that you can give that allows you for them to hear how they should respond. So the control is in you in terms of all the way that you can give those instructions, and these instructions will be made available to the students even as they're submitting their assignments, the screens where they're working on these assignments.
All right, there's a question about robocalling and how can they access that presentation. And I'll mention a couple of things. So we're going to make this webinar available in probably tomorrow. You'll receive an email with the link to the webinar recording. Also about robocalling, I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. Robocalling is now available for school administrators and district administrators. If you are a premium subscriber, you can send us an email to sales@bloomz.com and we'll get that taken care of for you. If you're interested, if you're a school administrator or you think your administrator might be interested in this feature in implementing Bloomz school-wide in your school, feel free to send us an email again to sales@bloomz.com or support@bloomz.com. Either way, we'll take care of you.
I think there was one question about the annotation tool. Can you please explain? I mean, this is the screen that I'm on, wherein the student can then annotate using different markers. They can add text, they can add audio, they can add photos. So really, they can annotate on this, and they can also add new pages. So they can create multiple pages. So that's what I was referring to the thing.
A few questions about, so Barb here, Bloomz was a lifesaver at the end of the year. We're really happy to hear that. And about the update of, so how do we receive these updates? It'll automatically happen through the traditional upgrade through App Store or Google Play. So you'll get a notification when a new app is available, and if you have the settings to automatically update, it'll magically happen in your phone. So, but we'll make sure to let you know through our social media, blog, etc. So keep an eye for that.
Yeah, I'm personally, as you know, this has been my dream for now. This is the 7th year or so. Um, the first 2 years, it started with the Bloom started with a personal pain point of mine when I fell sick for an extended period, and both my kids were going to two different schools, and it was a challenge to stay connected with their world while we were also busy with my personal situation that we were going through. So it felt like, we needed a one-stop place that engages the parents, that engages the kids, that engages the stakeholders like the educators, the administrators. So I think we kept with that mission, and as you could see, we are continuing to innovate, push the envelope like nobody else. The recognitions, the support that you guys are giving, and the adoption that we are seeing is an indication that we are solving a problem in the right way. And we would love for you to spread the word, and we would love for you to tell your administration district, so that we can continue to innovate and make a difference to every student, because in the end, that's the common mission for all of us. So thank you so much. And again, I see Claudia that she loves the enhancements that we're doing. Yeah, we completely. I mean, that's the one thing that Bloomz has always been known for, is that we are constantly hearing, we are constantly listening, and we are doing our best to make sure that the product continues to stay relevant, continues to address your needs, and that will be our main differentiator for years to come. So thank you so much again. I know we enjoyed this sharing this information. We enjoyed all the. We also thank you for all the feedback and inputs, because this is a great time to get all those suggestions and incorporate that as much as possible into the product thinking. So once again, we thank you for the opportunity to share with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks everyone for your time. Yes, we will be sending the webinar, and we'll incorporate a PD certificate. I know that that was a great suggestion heard, so we'll add that as well. Again, thank you everyone. Hope you enjoyed this. Again, if you want to share this on social media, please feel free to do so. Tag us at Bloomz App. And feel free to share with your administrators as well, or with other teachers in your school. And we really appreciate your time, and thank you very much. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Barbara. Look forward to seeing you on Bloomz.